We could like weird noises. I think we probably do like weird noises. There's the best airplane hydraulics in the world fly over this apartment, and they just sound so amazing. They're delicious. Like, I want to hear them all day. They're very musical, but they don't have any, the pilot or whoever's flying that plane doesn't have any intent to communicate music to me. But like a musician with a horn or a piano probably has some intent to communicate something to someone. And there's such a multiplicity of ways to do that, that I think if we can allow for, what's the right word, retain more, or we can allow for more of those experiences, more of those experiences become, I think, in fact, possible. So it's a broadening, I think, of, it's kind of a radical, like in yoga they talk about radical acceptance, right? Or in meditation, where you allow to fly into your brain, like whatever flies in, and you allow that to be, you don't try to push it out. And some of that could be true for music, like if you allow it to just be, there might be something in front of you that might have something to say to you, but you gotta give it a chance for it to say something to you. And I know for myself often I cannot be in the mood, the city is noisy and I'm not ready for it, but like in my better moments, I'm waiting to see if something is, or someone is going to say something to me, and I drop my preconceived notions because there just might be an opportunity. What is this music? It's so correlative to life, because I feel like if we ask the question, what is the life for? It's like, I don't think we have a reason. It's to live it, I think. Or what's the meaning? It's to like, just be here for it, to live it. And music's so fun that way, and so parallel and instructive, I think, because it's not for anything. It doesn't actually often mean anything. It's so like life, you know? It's like bebop, if we're talking about bebop, like even the words themselves are like just made up, but they don't mean anything, yet at the same time we know that they, in a way, kind of mean everything when we're there in the face of it. It's like the most serious moment of your life, often, to be in front of a good musician. But we couldn't write down what it meant, you know, and life is, to me, from the inside, it feels so parallel to that, and it's so freeing to hear music on the outside. Because I don't think we're chasing the best life or to be happy. I think we're chasing meaning, which often is a lot of suffering, chosen suffering, not the unchosen kind I'm not talking about, but like chosen suffering is often very meaningful. So I think the best life and the most meaningful, I think, are the same. And so for music, like the best music or the most meaningful, I think if a musician can transmute their intent and you feel it, that might be the best in some ways. That might be the most meaningful in some ways for you, but that can show up in thousands of ways and in ways we don't expect. Maybe the best life is the one trying to figure out what is, if you have time to ask the question, what is the most meaningful? That's a really good life. Any moment spent doing that is a meaningful life, I think. And I do think they are the same, kind of. There's a cat upstairs, Lemon, and like we look at each other and she meows. She's talking to me. I don't know what she's saying, but I kind of know what she's saying. And I think she kind of knows what I'm saying too. We're communicating across a divide like that. We don't have to be straight from the dictionary talking to one another for us to get one another. And often, like if I forget where I learned this, but I read it somewhere, like when you look at a piece of wood, you know, it's not a complete disorganized mess, the grain of the wood, but it's not like a perfect pattern either. And that there's some great life in there where it's not fully organized and it's not a total mess either. And I feel like this music falls into that slot, kind of like where it's not every detail is completely organized or known beforehand. I don't think there's anything in that doesn't mean anything. This little C major triad doesn't mean anything. Yet we know that we relate to that in some way. And so it's speaking to us in a way that subverts normal logic and language, which is so important because we often walk through the world not using those things to try to understand the world, and music can help us, can paint all of those things about life that are important, that in some way don't mean anything but mean everything at the same exact time. And something meaning something doesn't necessarily have to be formulated beforehand or paying strict heed to a logic. It can come out of its own improvised creation, and that can be valuable. It can be. The chance should be given for that to be valuable, I think, all by itself.